A broken system, a broken heart, a broken planet. It speaks of something shattered beyond repair, something needing forceful intervention, a heroic fix. But does that word truly capture the state of our world, or even ourselves? Is it really about pieces needing to be put back together? What if the language we use shapes the way we act? What if, instead of broken, we saw bruised? A deep ache, a sensitivity, a tenderness calling not for fixing, but for care. Not for saviors, but for gentle hands. This reflection is an invitation to consider the power of compassion over the urgency to mend, seeing the world's wounds as shared experiences, not separate problems, finding strength not in fixing, but in holding space for healing. If this quiet question resonates within you, perhaps stay a while. Let's explore together, gently, what it means to embrace a bruised world with an open heart. A globe spinning in space, but as a living presence. Feel its vastness, its ancient patience. Picture the oceans breathing with the tides, the forests inhaling sunlight, the mountains standing in silent witness through millennia. Sense the intricate web of life, the delicate dance of ecosystems, the constant flow of energy. Now, bring to mind an image of a bruise. Perhaps on skin, that tender discoloration, sensitive to the touch, a sign of impact, of vulnerability, but also of the body's innate capacity to heal from within. It doesn't need to be forced back to its original state. It needs time, care, gentle attention. Can we hold the image of the earth with this same quality of awareness? See the areas scarred by human activity, the depleted soils, the polluted waters, the thinning ice. Feel the sensitivity, the ache. But instead of seeing only brokenness demanding a fix, can we sense the underlying resilience? The persistent life force that pushes green shoots through cracked pavement, the oceans that continue their vast, slow cleansing, the atmosphere striving for balance. Let your breath be soft. Feel the gentle contact of your body with the surface supporting you, the chair, the floor, the earth itself. Acknowledge the connection. You are part of this living system, breathing the same air, sustained by the same elements. Allow any feelings that arise, perhaps sadness, perhaps tenderness, perhaps a quiet sense of responsibility, to be present without judgment. This opening silence isn't about finding solutions. It's about shifting perception, moving from the harshness of broken to the tenderness of bruised. It's about cultivating a gaze of compassion, both for the planet and for ourselves, recognizing that healing often begins not with action, but with a deep, quiet acknowledgement of the hurt, held with love. Inherent tension. It implies a flaw, a failure, something fundamentally wrong that must be corrected, often urgently. This urgency can breed anxiety, a frantic need to do something, anything, to fix the perceived problem. We see the environmental crises, climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, and the dominant response is often one of alarm, a call to arms, a desperate search for technological or political solutions to mend what's broken. This mindset, while well-intentioned, can inadvertently create more separation. It positions humanity as the fixer, the savior, standing apart from the broken planet, tasked with imposing a solution. It can lead to grand, often disruptive, interventions that may not fully respect the intricate, slow rhythms of natural healing. There's a subtle violence in the need to fix, a lack of trust in inherent resilience. Furthermore, this narrative can lead to feelings of overwhelm and despair. If the planet is truly broken, the task of fixing it seems impossibly large, leading to paralysis or burnout. We feel the weight of the world on our shoulders, a burden too heavy to bear. This can manifest as eco-anxiety, a pervasive sense of doom, or a cynical detachment. The tension also lies within ourselves. We see the brokenness outside mirrored within, our own perceived flaws, our unsustainable habits, our complicity in the systems causing harm. The judgment we direct towards the broken world easily turns inward, creating guilt, shame, and self-criticism. We try to fix ourselves, to become better environmentalists, more conscious consumers, but the feeling of inadequacy persists. The very idea of broken implies a past state of perfection that has been lost, creating a longing for an idealized, perhaps non-existent, past, and a fear of an irreparable future. This constant looking back or forward prevents us from fully meeting the present moment, from truly seeing the earth as it is now, wounded, yes, but also alive, resilient, and possessing its own deep wisdom for healing. The tension is the gap between the harsh diagnosis of broken and the possibility of a gentler, more compassionate relationship based on care and presence. She married young and gave birth to a son, but the child, while still learning to walk, died. Overcome with grief, refusing to accept his death, Kisa Gotami carried the dead child on her hip, going from house to house, asking, "Give me medicine for my son." People mocked her, saying, "You are mad. You ask for medicine for a dead child." But one wise man saw her profound distress and said, "Woman, I cannot give you medicine, but I know someone who can. Go to the Buddha." Kisa Gotami went eagerly to the Buddha and pleaded, "Lord, give me medicine that will cure my boy." The Buddha looked upon her with compassion and replied, "You have done well, Gotami, in coming to me for medicine. Go now into the city, enter every house, and bring back a handful of mustard seeds, but only from a house where no one has ever died, where no son, daughter, parent, or master has been lost." Filled with hope, Kisa Gotami went from door to door. At the first house, she asked for mustard seeds. "We have plenty," they said. But when she asked, "Has anyone died in this house? A son, a daughter, a parent, a master?" they replied, "Lady, the living are few, but the dead are many. Do not remind us of our deepest grief." She went to the next house, and the next, and the next. Everywhere she received the same answer. The living were few, the dead were many. House after house, she heard tales of loss, a husband, a wife, a child, a parent. As the day wore on and evening approached, the truth began to dawn on her. She sat down by the roadside, watching the city lights flicker on and then extinguish. She thought, "How selfish I have been in my grief. Death is not unique to my son. It is common to all. The Buddha, in his wisdom, sent me on this quest not for medicine, but for understanding." Realizing the universality of suffering and impermanence, her intense clinging to her son began to soften. She took the child's body to the charnel ground, left it there, and returned to the Buddha. The Buddha asked her, "Gotami, did you bring the mustard seeds?" She replied, "Lord, I could not. The people told me, the living are few, but the dead are many." The Buddha then spoke to her, explaining the nature of life and death, how all conditioned things are impermanent, and how clinging leads to suffering. Hearing his words, Kisa Gotami attained the first stage of enlightenment, stream entry, and asked to be ordained as a nun. DhammaMirror, verse 287. He who is absorbed in the care of children and cattle, whose mind is entangled, death seizes and carries him away like a great flood carries away a sleeping village. DhammaMirror, chapter 20, The Path, verse 287. Source: DhammaMirror Commentary, Story 8. 13. Kisa Gotami seeks mustard seed to cure her dead child. Shift away from the idea of fixing what feels broken. Her initial impulse, driven by unbearable grief, was to find a medicine, a cure, a way to fix death itself. She saw her situation as a unique catastrophe, a brokenness that needed mending. The Buddha, with immense compassion, didn't offer a false cure or dismiss her pain. Instead, he guided her towards a different understanding. The quest for mustard seeds from a house untouched by death wasn't meant to succeed in its literal goal. It was designed to immerse her in the shared reality of impermanence and loss. She didn't find a way to fix her son's death, but she found something far more transformative: kinship in suffering. She realized her pain wasn't an isolated break, but part of the universal human condition, the inherent nature of existence. This realization didn't erase her grief, but it fundamentally changed her relationship to it. It moved her from frantic fixing to compassionate understanding. How does this relate to our bruised earth? Like Kisa Gotami, we often react to environmental damage with a desire to fix, to find the medicine, the technological solution, the policy change that will restore a perceived former state. We see the wounds as problems to be solved, breaks to be mended. But what if the deeper wisdom lies not in finding the mustard seeds of a perfect, untouched world, which may never have existed, but in recognizing the shared vulnerability, the universal impermanence that touches all life, including the planet itself? What if the earth isn't broken, but experiencing the inevitable consequences of actions, the natural process of cause and effect, much like Kisa Gotami experienced the universal law of death? Seeing the earth as bruised invites a different response. A bruise needs care, gentleness, time. It calls for acknowledging the pain without needing to immediately eradicate it. It asks us to understand the causes, yes, but also to simply be present with the hurt, offering compassion rather than demanding repair. Kisa Gotami's healing began when she stopped seeing her grief as solely hers and recognized it in every house she visited. Our healing relationship with the earth might begin when we stop seeing its wounds as problems out there to be fixed by us, and instead recognize our shared existence, our shared vulnerability, our shared fate. The earth's bruises are, in a way, our bruises too. The pollution, the extinctions, the warming, these are symptoms of a deeper imbalance, a collective clinging perhaps, akin to Kisa Gotami's clinging to her son. The shift comes not from finding the perfect fix, but from understanding the nature of things, from cultivating compassion born of shared experience, and from acting not as saviors, but as participants in a slow, ongoing process of healing that arises from presence and care. Once more, feel the gentle rhythm of your breath. Now, bring the image of the earth back into your mind's eye, not broken, but bruised, sensitive, alive. Hold this image with tenderness, as you might hold a small, injured bird in your hands. No need to fix it, just hold it gently in your awareness. Breathe in, and as you do, imagine you are breathing in some of the earth's weariness, its sensitivity, its ache. Not to take it away, but simply to acknowledge it, to feel it with empathy. Breathe out, and as you do, imagine you are breathing out a quality of gentleness, of care, of quiet compassion. Let this breath be an offering of presence, a silent holding of space. Continue this for a few moments, breathing in, acknowledging the bruise, breathing out, offering gentle presence. Notice any resistance that arises, perhaps the urge to fix, to solve, to turn away. Just notice it, like Kisa Gotami noticing the flickering lights, and gently return to the breath, to the holding. Now, Expand your awareness. Feel the ground beneath you, the air around you. Recognize that you are inseparable from this earth. Its bruises are felt within the collective body of life, which includes you. Let go of the idea of you helping it. Instead, feel the shared reality. Feel the pulse of life that persists despite the wounds. Feel the innate resilience within yourself and within the planet. Rest in this shared space of vulnerability and resilience. There is no need for grand gestures here. The practice is simply this: to meet the perceived wounds of the world not with the harshness of broken, but with the tenderness of bruised. To offer not a frantic fix, but the quiet power of compassionate presence. To breathe with the earth, acknowledging its pain, trusting its capacity for healing, and recognizing our part in that unfolding, moment by moment, breath by breath. Problems to be fixed, but as bruises needing care, how might our actions change? What emerges from a place of shared vulnerability and compassionate presence, rather than from the urgency of repair? When we stop trying to save the world and simply learn to love it, bruised as it is, what kind of healing becomes possible, both for the earth and for ourselves? If it resonates, consider sharing this reflection. Subscribe for more explorations into mindful living and compassionate connection with our world. Let us hold the earth and ourselves with kindness.